Imagine staying awake for 30 straight days. No naps, no closing your eyes for a single second. That is 720 hours of continuous wakefulness. The biological fallout of this experiment involves a sequence of physiological failures that ends in total systemic collapse. Navigating this timeline requires looking past the common misconception that sleep is a period of inactivity. Every hour of sleep consists of a high-intensity maintenance cycle that the human body requires for survival. Take your brain. When you fall asleep, it activates the glymphatic system. This is a specialized cleaning crew that sweeps out toxic waste products built up during your waking hours. Simultaneously, your body repairs damaged cells, balances hormone levels, lowers your heart rate, and drops your blood pressure, giving your cardiovascular system a break. Biology treats this as mandatory mechanical maintenance. The moment it stops, your internal systems begin a rapid breakdown. After 24 hours without sleep, activity in your prefrontal cortex drops sharply. Your reaction times slow down, while your logical decision-making and impulse control begin to fail. Look at this data comparing the cognitive impairment of sleep deprivation directly against blood alcohol levels. At the 24-hour mark, your impairment hits 0.10%. The threshold for being legally drunk in every U.S. state. Your physical stress response is already firing. Cortisol production spikes, which immediately drives up your heart rate and your baseline anxiety. By hour 72, the specialized natural killer cells your body uses to fight infections drop in number. This leaves your immune system compromised and highly vulnerable to simple viruses. This is also when the sensory misfires begin. You start experiencing visual and auditory hallucinations, seeing insects on the walls or hearing voices that aren't there. This happens because the brain needs REM sleep to process sensory data. Deprived of rest, the brain generates its own reality, forcing you to experience a dream state while you are entirely awake. Between days 5 and 10, you enter a metabolic crisis. Levels of leptin, the hormone that signals fullness, crash. Meanwhile, ghrelin, the hunger hormone, spikes uncontrollably, causing intense cravings for high-calorie fuel. Emotional regulation fails as the amygdala, the brain's emotional center, fires at 160% of its normal intensity. Without a functioning prefrontal cortex to filter these signals, you experience sudden rage and uncontrollable crying. We have documented evidence of this decline. In 1964, a 17-year-old student named Randy Gardner stayed awake for 11 straight days as a science experiment. Under medical monitoring, Gardner's cognitive functions disintegrated. By day 4, he could no longer recognize objects by touch. By day 11, his short-term memory was gone and he could not complete a basic sentence. If 11 days can dismantle the mind of a healthy teenager, the remaining 19 days push the human body into lethal, undocumented territory. In the final stretch, the body triggers catabolism, the process of breaking down its own muscle tissue for emergency fuel. Without the glymphatic system to clean it, the brain is overwhelmed by toxic proteins. A buildup of beta amyloid accelerates neurological decay, causing your brain to age years in just a few days. Human data stops at 11 days for ethical reasons, so we must rely on animal studies to understand how the timeline ends. In studies of total sleep deprivation in rats, death occurred within 2 to 3 weeks. This was not the result of a single organ failure, but the simultaneous collapse of every biological system. This answers our core premise. Reaching day 30 is biologically impossible. The body will have consumed its own life support networks long before the clock runs out. A few weeks without rest forces the body from functional intoxication into hallucinations, cellular toxicity, and final systemic death. This physiological evidence requires a shift in how we perceive rest. The science shows that sleep is an active biological requirement, not a sign of weakness. Clinical data defines sleep as a high-yield, performance-enhancing activity that supports every measurable metric of human health. When you lie down tonight, you are performing the complex internal work that keeps you alive.